Pashut, Daf Kuf Samachet, sponsored for a bracha v'atzlacha for Yeshaya Nasan ben Ari Nisana. A previous Mishnah established a woman can request a receipt for her ksuba only from a scribe and witnesses who recognize her. Consequently, a claim it was written for an impostor is not accepted. A proof. Torah scholars did not examine women carefully. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, being a Torah scholar, was uncertain of a woman's identity. He eventually identified her, noticing she aged, causing her voice to deepen. His testimony was unquestioned. Despite this, the Gemara suggests, when marrying, he take an Amaritz with him, to be certain later she would not be exchanged for another woman. The Gemara discusses other document authorizations mentioned in the previous Mishnah. Number 1, a borrower may request a loan document be written not in the presence of a lender. However, he must pay for it even if the loan is for a business venture the lender will profit from as well. Number 2, a seller may request a sale document be written not in the presence of the buyer. He must pay even where it is an advantage for the seller to sell, such as poor quality fields or fields poorly located. Number 3, both families of the bride and groom must consent to write betrothal and marriage documents. They're written only with the consent of both parties. The groom pays the scribe, even if he is a Torah scholar that the father-in-law has an interest to acquire. Number 4, sharecropping and tenant farming contracts are written only with the consent of both parties. The tenant pays the scribe, even if the land remains for part of the time fallow. Number 5, documents of clarification that either records the arguments of the litigants or records their choice of judges are written only with the consent of both parties. Number 6, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds each litigant is entitled to a separate document. One can refuse an individual document relating both sets of arguments, claiming his opponent is a lurking lion, ready to pounce. This is not related to Kofin al Midasto. Now we move on to a new Mishnah. Mishnah discusses a case where a debtor paid part of his debt. Both the lender and the borrower agreed, rather than writing a receipt for the part paid, the loan document would be deposited with a third party. The debtor stipulated if the remainder is not paid by a certain date, he is to return the document to the lender to collect the whole debt, the first payment retroactively a gift. Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda dispute whether he must actually return the document to the lender. They dispute the principle of asmachta. Asmachta is a commitment a person never expects to honor. Although the debtor committed to forfeit the part already paid, he does not expect that to happen. He merely indicated to the lender his intent to pay on time. In the event the unexpected happens, Rabbi Yossi holds the third party must return it to the lender. A verbal commitment is generally binding unless there is compelling evidence that he was not serious. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He holds an asmachta is compelling evidence. Although Rabbi Yochanan decided in favor of Rabbi Yossi, the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda unless a kinyan was performed in a prominent court. Now we move on to a new Mishnah. This Mishnah discusses the law for a lender who accidentally erased his loan document. The witnesses write a new one in court, include a clause it was erased, and sign it. In addition, a brisa states, judges present certify it by writing. An erased document and its witnesses were presented before us. If the document included their testimony was accurate, the lender can collect with this one as the original. If not, it requires other evidence the loan took place. The brisa brings damaged documents other than erased. Number 1, nikra. Rabbi Yehuda explains a court that tears the toref, the essence of a document, invalidates it. Abaya holds even an X-shaped tear anywhere on the document. Number 2, niskara. A document torn accidentally is valid. Number 3, nimchak o nitashtesh. A document erased or smudged, if legible, is valid. The Gemara illustrates a legible, erased, or smudged document is valid if still legible. Arabs expropriated Jewish property on their documents in Pumbedisa. Those still in possession came to Abaye requesting to write them a second document to reclaim their properties once expropriated. He could not comply based on Rav Safra's prohibition to write two documents for one property. They continued pressuring him until he instructed his scribe to write in an invalid document the text on erased paper that the scribe scribbled, erased, and witnesses' signatures on new. Had the text been originally written, erased, and still legible, the property owners could present them in court. To prevent this, the scribe originally scribbled writing he erased. If you're enjoying Daf and 5, please click on the link below, subscribe, and become a sponsor. Thank you.